Aha! The
Turn this volume down a little bit and turn up my microphone.
Look, Gamma. Finally, we have found one.
Oh my god, this... Trying to set up my microphone. Here we go. This is... We already seen all this. This isn't an important part. I'm just gonna...
What type of wizard
Actually...
you
Yeah, myth.
are. My vision is failing me. Are you?
That
I
actually
already
looks
know
good.
what you are. What do you
Go
look like?
there.
Good. All right then.
What
What
was
is
the
your name?
name? See if I can find a name similar, I suppose. I'm absolutely horrible at this. Yeah, whatever. And that would be up here. Down to the S. There we go, and so.
Well, hello. If it isn't our...
I'm gonna have to turn off the sound for myself. You guys can hear it, but I can't. Because I can't do this while I'm talking. So, recently, I've been brainstorming some ideas. And actually, I'm just gonna turn off the sound. Once after this, okay, let's turn off dialogue so it's just sound. Just music. There we go. So what was I saying? I haven't even started. I've already forgotten where I was. Basically, what I'm thinking of doing is making, or not making. I'm not thinking of actually making it. I've been brainstorming because I am terrified of what will happen when the actual servers for this game go down. So I've been thinking about how I would possibly change this game into a single-player game. Now, a lot of the changes would be done to things like battles. There would still be cheating battles. And the cheats would be different, but at the same time they'd be kind of in the same... I haven't thought of any specific ones. Like, for example... Actually, I guess I can think of one on the spot. Let's think, Grandfather Spider's cheats, where he switches the turns around. That would still probably be the same. But, yeah, I haven't gone through... I haven't, started going through the entire thing in that sort of sense. But beyond that, I have been thinking of, instead of having it, while it is a little bit of a possible letdown for some people, I was thinking of, instead of making it so that, well, there would be a few things that I would change about, not really change about the lore of the games, but it would be adding my own personal thoughts on the lore. And kind of going and saying, making it because right now it's at least in my opinion, it's already implied that because PvP exists as a thing, it's already, and that's kind of already it's kind of like Pokemon, is how I'm trying to explain it, where everyone existing at the same time is all just inside of different universes, but they're all part of the same larger multiverse where there's, everybody is the wizard of this thing, of the game. They're the main character and all that sort of jazz. but at the same time, there's about a million others. And so what I'm thinking of having is that when you go through like the PvP tutorial, it like kind of mentions that in the single player one, just as kind of confirmation, at least on my end, because the way that I'm thinking of building it is that every single character is that there's going to be 7 or there's going to be no, not 8. There's going to be 9 set characters that you play as, and they're all going to have pretty much the same story, kind of. But the dialogue for each individual one is going to be different at the same time. It's kind of difficult to explain. What I'm thinking of doing is basically changing the story and the dialogue up to make it more personalized for each character you play as opposed to just having a young wizard. It'll actually say the characters' names, and if possible, the character will actually respond back, kind of like an actual game where your character can talk. Yeah, because your character will be able to talk. It's a bit of an interest. It's a weird idea of mine, but and so right now I've got all the names down except for the 9th one. Guinevere, which is going to be the Fire Wizard. Eliza Watson is going to be the Storm Wizard. Calamity Frost is going to be the Ice Wizard. Sabra Skywing is the Life Wizard. Sylvan Wormsmith, as you can probably guess based off of what you're seeing on the screen, is going to be the Myth Wizard. Idra Whisperwind is the Balance Wizard. Bakir Shasa is the Death Wizard. And then here's one where I'm kind of going off. And if you've seen my post on Wizard101 Central, I'm going to link the post down below of the school idea that I have. Their name is Amber Light, and she is a light wizard. A Lumiomancer. There's a whole other thing I could probably talk about with this and get really into detail. And then I haven't thought of it yet. I've had it brought up to me since I'm making light. Someone did ask me, well, what about Shadow? And so I have been trying to consider Shadow to, like, well, if we're making an entirely new version of Wizard, hypothetically speaking, how would we make Shadow work throughout the start of the game? Which would be difficult, but I'm creative, so I think I might be able to manage. But the main thing that I have trouble with for Shadow is trying to think of who the teacher would be. Because at least for Light, I can either have Ambrose or Bartleby. Right now, Bartleby is going to be the teacher of the main spells of the Light School. But I have no idea. I guess maybe Bartleby would also be the Shadow School teacher, because Bartleby is canonically the source of all of the magic, and that does include shadow magic. So he could be the teacher of Shadowmancers. Guess technically it would have to be called Umbramancers, given that later on we do get the shadow magic from Chrysalis. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there, really. What else? What else? So... And so yeah, it would follow the same... It would pretty much follow the exact same story that Wizard101 itself has, and the changes would mainly be cosmetic to the dialogue, and with the big main change of it being, you no longer have to... God, start it. You no longer... It's no longer, an online thing, so you have to do everything yourself. Now, there would be changes, obviously, to some of the gameplay. There would no longer be the 4 dual spaces, it would just be the 1. I would have to think of other ways to, like, make battles difficult. And it would take a lot of balancing work, especially for things like Storm. Life would also have to change up quite a bit. spell elements are gonna definitely make a big comeback in this solo game. Might make it so that you can, might even bring the I might have to find a way to bring in all 4 of the things as a way to just like make it more balanced. Or I could just increase the stats that you get from things, which could also somewhat work. Because I know for a fact that what was I gonna say? Yes, stats are definitely gonna get majorly buffed in this. First of all, because there's no PvP, so we don't have to worry about people complaining there. So, that's gonna be good. And also because the bosses would be difficult, and because of the type of person that I am, I enjoy giving the player more power than taking power away from the enemies. So there would still be wizards like the Darkmoor Malistaire with 100k health. Yeah. Man, there's so many things I'm trying to think of that I'd have to change about this. What other thing? Oh yeah, also was considering making it so that each character, right now I'm kind of debating on, like, for the thought experiment of if when you start the game you're going to have all the characters already unlocked except for Light and Shadow, obviously, because you got to because they're like super powerful, and they would be they would have the same basic story, but the dialogue would change immensely. There would have to be brand new dialogue for Bartleby and or Ambrose, depending on which school you go into, about how, like, oh my god, no one's ever been focused in this school before. And I think it would be pretty interesting from my perspective to do that. So what was I going to think of? Yeah, adding those things in. Is he facing yeah, he's facing sideways. Yeah, and I was also thinking of like, so that when you go to the character select screen, it would show like the world that character is from and like have some music playing from it. So like Guinevere, it would show Avalon in the background. Don't worry, I do know that there is the whole thing of the wizards from Earth and that sort of thing, but I'm kind of going against that. Not really going against it, I'm kind of shifting it about just a little bit so that so that there's still enough of a technicality in there. Yeah, so like from Guinevere, she's from Avalon, and so if we get to the end of the end of the third arc with Medulla, you technically wouldn't be able to go to the astral plane, but I'm having it so that she gets sent off to Earth. Or in my idea for her so far, she gets sent off to Earth early on. And so she is able to go into the astral plane. As crazy as it may seem, but yeah, that's just one example. Gosh diddly darn it. I'm deadaroo. What else? Most of the spells would probably be the same. I would be doing an update for the graphics though. That much I can say. A little bit more than what they did for this updated graphics that they've done for Wizard City. Or not, I would be. If I were to actually make it, I would be. But yeah, so my idea for the game was because it no longer would have to rely on heavy server usage, it would be able to, the graphics would be able to be a lot better and a lot more, yeah, they would be able to be a lot better, especially with the simple lighting engine. It would be, I can imagine this game looking so much better if the lighting was rendered a little bit better, if there was a little bit more, because right now I'm looking at, I never noticed until just now, there is pretty much no shadows outside of the singular shadow right underneath your character. Wow, I didn't notice that until just now. I'm gonna go fight Lady Black Hope. What else? So I already talked about characters, story, gameplay. I don't know if I know there will be some. I know there will be some change, or not will be. If there would be some change to the battle mechanic, but it wouldn't be like super different. It's gonna stay essentially the same. It's gonna still be this card-based, turn-based battle system. I need to think of it, because I know there should be some changes to it, but I'm just not sure what yet. Yeah, thinking back on it, yeah, I'm just kind of jumping around. Sorry for jumping around, folks. But, so yeah, there would be a, there would be Bartleby teaching. Bartleby would definitely be teaching me shadow magic. I just gotta think of that character that would actually be learning shadow magic. Because as I said, every character that you play in the game, it wouldn't be a character... Gosh darn it. It wouldn't be a character created by you. It's a set character by the people working on the game, whoever that may wind up being, if it ever actually did come to be. They would make these 9 different character models that would just play throughout the game. And because I'm that person, and that I have always wanted to be able to play as one of the creatures, and because multiverse theory says that there is something of everything, all of the characters in this game are creatures. They're not... You gotta be kidding me. So all of the characters in the game would be creatures. So, for example, Guinevere is an Avalonian fox. Just a really tall one. There's a reason that she's an incredibly tall Avalonian fox. In my version, my headcanon of this, I'm not going to reveal what that reason is just yet. If I ever write up a full Wizard101 Central post, I will come back and put it in the description below. And of course I died because I fizzled twice. Really, you know Leprechaun? Oh my god, I hate you so much now. That was unfair. That was completely unfair. So, back what I was saying. So yeah, wizard stuff. Oh yeah, Guinevere. She is Avalonian fox. Really big fire magic. Powerful fire magic, but then that's just because she's the player, so obviously they become powerful. Really powerful by the end of Arc 3. Actually, really powerful by the end of Arc 1. Considering how strong the Titans are and how you're able to summon them. I mean, at least if you're Storm, Ice, and Fire. Myth, Death, and Life. Well, Life gets to summon Bartleby. So, there is that. So Life does get to summon Bartleby, which does help them in a bit. Oh, well, man, I'm just gonna go send someone. Are you kidding me? So what else was I thinking? Oh yeah, so I was talking about how powerful things are. But yeah, so Solo Wizard101, it would be right now my joking name in progress for this thought experiment is Solo 101, because I am absolutely horrible at coming up with names. And yeah, so Solo 101, you would be able to play Wizard 101 forever without the need of an internet connection. You would lose access to all of the online stuff, so no trading, no hatching. There would still be pets, and you would at least no hatching with other players. In my head, there would be characters in-game that there would be extra characters that you could meet in-game with like their own dialogue options and their own stuff that you could become friends with, and then you would eventually be able to trade with them, trade pets and all that sort of stuff. But it would all be done in-game and learn that way. Of course, in my head, the characters also do already have their own special pets from their actual homes. So that's another thing, at least in my thought experiment. Another thing that's going to be a little bit difficult is trying to make it so that players are constantly moving forward. But I guess that is kind of one of the charms of the game, and that's being able to grind your way up in the levels, which is really fun. Don't want to really give away too much more. I just want to put the idea out there of a thought experiment for a single player Wizard 101. Would look pretty amazing in my opinion, but then I'm biased because I love this game. Even if I don't play it too often anymore. Well, I have been playing it, I just haven't been recording it because I haven't had time thanks to finals. I haven't been able to sit down for hours or for a half an hour at a time. And most of the stuff that I've been doing ever since Spell Elements has come out hasn't really been record worthy. It's just been, oh yeah, I'm just farming for reindeer night stuff, which I'm not getting enough of. Like, this is the first time I've sat down and actually played another wizard that isn't my ice and fire looking for reindeer and Krampus before this Christmas stuff ends. But yeah, that's my ideas so far. At least the ones that I am willing to share. I do have a lot more ideas in the making for this thought experiment game. But leave your own thoughts for a thought experiment game like this down below in the comments. And as much as I'd hate to be, this is the first time I've ever actually sold out like this, leave a like, fave, and share the video with people. Who knows? Maybe if it gets shared around enough, KingsIsle might actually hit me up and force me to make this. Wouldn't say no to them. Definitely wouldn't. I would literally kill... Not literally. I would figuratively kill if I got permission from KingsIsle to make a solo, single-player version of Wizard101. Wizard101 has been one of my biggest... I am a game developer, that's why I'm thinking of things like this. Making games in general is one of my biggest things. And personally, if I ever made a game that someone liked so much that they wanted to go out and make a fan game, I probably wouldn't just approve of them doing so because my games, but then again, my games are made with the idea of there being a super complex multiverse, but that's an entirely different thing. I would fund them. I wouldn't help them. Like, I would help them from the lore side. I would help make sure that everything is still somewhat believable, I guess. But I wouldn't send them a cease and desist if they actually went out and made it. This is starting to sound very suspicious, but I promise you, I am not actually doing anything yet. I would not do anything without the express permission, personally, from KingsIsle Entertainment outside of making these videos. I'm not. This is, as of the moment, this is still purely a thought experiment. But I really, really wish it wasn't. I really, really wish that I would be able to go out and make this game solo. Because it's been one of my... It's not been one of my... It is still one of my favorite games of all time. It has been nearly as influential in my decision to become a game designer as games like Sly Cooper or Jak and Daxter. Other games that essentially kickstarted my journey into actual game design. I just really like making games, and I really like KingsIsle's world they've crafted, and I would love to be, like, even as just an outsourced thing. But yeah, this outro's probably gone on for long enough. Thanks for watching if you've made it this far. Remember to like, fave, and comment down below your idea. And comment down below your ideas for what you would like to see in a single-player Wizard101 game. And do try to share this with KingsIsle if you can. Thank you all for watching. This is Amber Light, signing out.